The movie is set in the year 1977, Soviet Union. A man named Polsky is excitedly going through the airport for his flight towards Prague. He pushes his cart that carries that cage where his German Shepherd Alma is placed in. They go through the security seamlessly. When he's about to board the plane, the stewardess, Nina, asks for his ticket. He shows it to her, and then she asks for the dog's travel certificate, but he forgot it. Nina gives him time to go to the airport vet to get a certificate. But when the vet checks Alma, she has an ear infection, and they can't give Polsky a certificate. He goes back to the plane and pleads with Nina and asks her what he should do. Nina, feeling bad for both of them, goes on to accept the tickets without the certificate. Unfortunately, Zorina comes and confronts him. Learning that Polsky doesn't have the certificate, she didn't allow Alma into the plane, needing to fly for work reasons. Polsky decides to leave his dog at the airport. He opens her cage and lets her out. He apologizes to her and then throws her ball away for her to run after. As she runs after that ball, he gets on the plane and leaves her behind. Realizing her owner had just left, Alma runs after that plane. The pilot reports it and security comes to take her to the pound. But she's quick enough to escape from him and goes through this hole in a fence straight into Nina's father Sergei's yard. Hiding under his trailer, Sergei sees her as he's fixing his old plane, but lets her hide. Security comes over and asks him if he saw the dog, and he tells them that it ran away into the fields. So they go looking for her, and as they're gone, Sergei goes to Alma and gives her water. But now that a plane's about to land, Alma hears it and goes back to the runway. She's hoping to see her owner come back for her. She sits and waits in the middle of the runway for the plane to land. Inside the plane is a boy, Coya, whose mom just recently passed away, and he's flying here with his father, Slava. We have a very powerful passenger on board as well, Lisko, who's afraid of landing and orders the plane to make a soft landing. But when Yorgi, the co-pilot, tells Slava about Alma in the middle of the runway, Slava has no choice but to shift the plane and cause turbulence for the passengers. When he's able to land safely, everyone gets out. But Lisko is not happy with his experience. Slava goes to Coya, who hasn't moved from his seat, and tells him that they should get off the plane. But Coya objects and says that he'll wait for the next flight back home to Sverdlovsk. Outside the plane, Alma's causing a commotion as people are getting afraid of her. Security comes out once again and they trap Alma inside that bus that carries passengers to the runway. Seeing what's happening, Coya sneakily gets on this bus and frees Alma, allowing her to run away. Security catch up to him and scold him until they realize he's Slava's son. Slava, on the other hand, is being called to Zorina's office where he's questioned about what happened on the runway. But when Zorina learns about Slava having a son whom he just met as the mother passed away, she lets him go, but reminds him to be good at his job, especially as he's going on this international flight pretty soon. Meanwhile, as Sergei locks up his trailer, Alma pops up with a ball in her mouth. Sergei tells her that dogs shouldn't hang around at the airport, but since she has a strong reason, he lays a mat for her and lets her stay under his trailer. In the next scene, Slava takes Coya back to his apartment. By bedtime, Coya sneaks out and goes back to the airport. He tries to buy a ticket, but he isn't issued one because he doesn't have a parent with him, so he pretends he's with this random family he sees there and goes with them to the plane without them knowing. Now, as they board the plane, the stewardess catches him and he runs away. While security chases him, he hides inside a wheel compartment of the plane, and the security can't see him. But then Alma appears from below and barks at him. Catching the security's attention, he quickly jumps down and hides behind a truck. Alma barks at him and signals him to follow her, so he does, and they both run away towards Sergei's yard. In the morning, Slava's talking with the police, reporting Coya missing and giving him his description. Then he gets a call from the airport. In the next scene, he goes to Sergei's yard, and he shows him Coya and Alma sleeping under the trailer. Slava pulls the boy up and Alma defends him. As Slava has a flight to catch, Sergei volunteers to watch the boy as he leaves. While staying with Sergei, Nina joins him, and Coya asks her what the dog's name is. Nina tells him it may be Alma or Palma, when she heard Polsky mention it before. Coya goes with Palma and starts calling the dog that. He also tries to find his name from the airport's cashier, Reza, but Reza refuses to give him anything. Suddenly, Palma is causing trouble inside the airport when she tries to follow a man whom she thinks is her owner. Coya saves Palma and they hide behind a door. Seeing what's happening, Reza secretly gives Coya Polsky's details and tells him where to go so security won't catch him. While the boy's writing a letter to Polsky, Slava comes back, but unfortunately he brings security with him and they capture Palma, taking him to the dog pound. This makes Coya very angry at his father. Nina's also disappointed with Slava as she gives him Koya's letter for Polsky. Sergey's mad as well and tells Slava not to show his face in his yard again. Now back home, Slava and Coya argue, and they agree to go their separate ways in the morning. Then Slava goes to his car and reads his letter to Polsky. This makes him realize his mistake, and he takes Coya with him to get Palma back. But when they get to the pound, Nina's there pounding on the door, with Palma already gone along with the other dogs that she helped escape. Coya tells him to go to Sergey's yard, thinking that's where Palma's headed. But when they get there, the dog ain't around. But suddenly, on the runway, Palma appears. Coya tells Slava Palma should stay with them and he'll take care of her. But Sergey says that he's sure the dog won't go anywhere, as she's waiting for her owner at the airport. So they agree to let her stay at Sergey's. Suddenly, a reporter comes by and he features Palma in the newspaper. Zarina gets mad and confronts Slava. She's about to punish him, but Lisko calls her and it turns out he likes Palma's story. Lisko allows Palma at the airport and she waits every day for her owner to come and take her home. But it never happens. And unfortunately, Palma gets sick. The airport security puts her in this enclosure at the side of the runway with her own doghouse. But sadly, she gets so weak that she doesn't even eat anymore. The airport veterinarian checks on her and he says that she has a heart condition and may not survive the night. Well, that night it's raining, and Coya goes to Palma, begging her to go with him. But still, Palma doesn't budge. And even though it's raining crazy outside, she lays there on the ground, sad and crying. Coya ends up sleeping next to Palma under the rain. In the morning, to Coya's surprise and delight, Palma wakes him up. She's already standing with all her energy back, so Coya takes her home with him to Slava's house where Slava, Nina, and Sergey are taking care of both of him and the dog after that night out in the rain. Soon enough though, Slava gets a call telling him that he'll be flying his first international flight. At the same time, Palma's true owner, Polsky's coming back to get her. Coya doesn't want to give her back, but they don't have a choice. Lisko and the press are waiting outside the plane, while Coya also lines up with the crew, holding Palma. When Polsky steps out of the plane and Palma sees him, she quickly runs towards him while Coya is holding her. The boy hands Polsky the leash and says goodbye. Everyone cheers for him. As they wait for their flight back to Prague, with Slava flying the plane, Slava talks with Polsky in private. He's asking him if he can just leave Palma to them, but Polsky says no. Slava's begging him and even says that he'll buy Palma, but Polsky admits that he can't, as Lisko's the one who told him to get Palma back, even if he doesn't want the dog anymore. Having no choice, Slava goes into the cockpit and prepares for takeoff. Polsky then takes his dog into the plane so they can fly back to Prague, but Palma keeps on looking at Coya and holds back, not wanting to go with Polsky. Lisko orders the press to stop filming. Palma pulls back hard to get back to the boy, and Coya also runs towards her, but security's holding him back. Polsky forcibly pulls the dog back inside the plane. Seeing what's going on in the mirror, Slava shuts down the plane, and that confuses everyone. Zarina's asking him why, and he says that he will not fly this plane even if it means that he'll get fired. Zarina's asking Yorgi if he can take over, but he also refuses. Although she understands Slava's decision, there's protocol to follow, so she tells Fedya to escort Slava out of the plane. The stewardess feels bad taking this initiative and asks Polsky for Palma's travel certificate, but he doesn't have one at this time. It was Lisko's orders. Lisko climbs up the plane and confronts him about what's happening, and Zarina backs the stewardess and says they can't allow Palma onto this plane without a travel certificate. Lisko tells them to just allow it, but they refuse. Another pilot also says that something's wrong with the dog to add more reason not to let her on the plane. Lisko argues with the entire crew, but they reason that it's lawful not to allow animals without a travel certificate. Realizing how everyone doesn't want Palma to leave, and also the fact that he really doesn't want the dog, Polsky looks at Palma, who's also looking at him, as if pleading to let her go. So he tells Palma to run, and so she does, right out of that plane and back to Coya. Lisko confronts him, and Polsky says that the dog isn't his because his dog's name is Alma, but the one they have is Palma, so it's not his dog. Coya and Palma are reunited, making both of them very happy. Our movie ends with Sergey finally fixing his old plane and Slava flying it with Coya. Zarina also says in the end that she didn't fire Slava, but only suspended him for a few months.